I wonder, have you ever been sitting in church, listening to the sermon when suddenly someone jumps up to shout down the preacher? It would be troubling and confusing, and to tell you the truth, it would probably scare me more than a little. Hi everyone, I'm Jim Krumholtz, pastor of St. Paul's Lutheran Church in Edison, with this week's gospel reading and sermon preview. This week, we find Jesus teaching in the synagogue in Capernaum. Mark doesn't tell us what he's saying, but he does let us know that the people are amazed by the authority of Jesus' teaching. But right in the middle of this powerful teaching session, a man stands up and challenges Jesus. I know who you are, Jesus of Nazareth. You are the Son of God, and you have come to destroy us. Mark tells us that the man has an unclean spirit, that Jesus commanded the spirit to be silent, and then he commanded the spirit to come out of the man. The man began to convulse, the spirit came and out and left the man. The people were amazed and wondered who this was who had authority over unclean spirits. And they were right to be amazed and left to wonder who Jesus was. Now, in Mark's gospel, this story does a couple of things. It shows us how Jesus' teaching is a word with power to set people free from the forces or powers that defy God. But it also lets us know that this good news of Jesus is going to be rejected and opposed. The Spirit spoke the truth. Jesus did come to destroy the powers of sin and death and everything that keeps us from a right relationship with God. There is something in this gospel that is going to put the powers of this world on the defensive, and those powers will use their ultimate weapons, violence and death, to save and defend their own power. But what of the man in the story? He was not an unclean spirit, he was a man. He stood up to challenge Jesus with a voice that was not his own. The people in the synagogue had no way of knowing that the voice that spoke was not that of the man, but the voice of an unclean spirit. Only Jesus knew. Jesus recognized the spirit, and he recognized the man beneath, under its power, and he set the man free. Jesus' authority and power is simultaneously loving and compassionate, and that is the angle we're going to use to see how this story might speak to us today. It is all too easy to demonize those who stand opposed to us and our ideas, to fuse evil in the person. But in my sermon this week, I challenge us first to consider how we are under the influence of powers and forces that both defy and oppose God. The man in this story can be a kind of every person for us. We are that person. And yet Jesus sees us for what his healing word can make us. Jesus sees the real us and sets us free by joining us to his death and resurrection. That's a gift waiting for you in this assembly this week. Jesus is called to be transformed and set free by the power of his amazing word. So that don't let anything or anyone keep you from gathering with us in worship this Saturday evening at 5:30 p.m. and Sunday morning at 10 a.m. And in the meantime, feel free to post your questions and comments. Peace.